You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the August 19th, 2024 meeting of the Michigan City Board of Public Works and Safety. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Good afternoon. I'll call to order the Board of Public Works and Safety for Monday, August 19th, 2024. The official time is 4 o'clock. I'll call the roll. Mr. Simmons?
Present.
Ms. Tisdale?
Present.
Ms. Smith?
Present.
Ms. Moore?
Present.
Chair is present. Attorney LePage is present. And our Madam Clerk is present. We do have a quorum and we can consider things today. Our first order of business today is approval of minutes from our regular hybrid Zoom meetings for August 5th, 2025. I'm sorry, 2024. Jumped in a year ahead there. 2024. Do I hear a motion or any changes to the minutes?
Motion to approve.
Support.
Call for the vote. Mr. Simmons?
Aye.
Ms. Tisdale?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Moore?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. We have a revised agenda in front of us, and we are moving up our City Hall roof repair as our first order of business today. We have had a significant amount of hail damage if you haven't been into some of the offices here or some of the corridors, and we need to get this solved ASAP so we can stop covering up our computers with tarps and buckets and things of that nature. So with that, I'm going to hand it off to our insurance providers, and I believe Mr. Ed Shin is here from the building department with some recommendations. He has thoroughly kind of reviewed the roof situation and with our city engineer as well, and I do believe Ms. LePage probably has some information for us as well. With that, I'm going to hand it off.
Don't need to go.
Go ahead, Jane.
So I'm here today to hand out some revised estimates for City Hall and City Hall only, the roof. We started off at $360,000 for the roof. And then as we were getting closer to the actual repairs, we have additional costs that are going to be covered by insurance, which is gutters, downspouts, fascia, those types of items. So I did bring copies of the revised estimate for folks.
Thank you.
You need one, yeah.
This for a name and address.
Yes, Mr. Simmons, absolutely. Jan, if you don't mind, would you give us your official name, address, and yeah, we know who you are, but for the record.
Jan Fitzpatrick, General Insurance Services, Claims Department.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. So what you have is the revised estimate for City Hall. And again, it was another $89,000 that needed to be added to the estimate, so that we are now at $471,000.
That's with the gutters and everything, right?
And we know that there's probably going to be some additional things as we tear off the roof, that we have coverage for those items also. We also know that there's some interior damage here that we need an estimate for. We've agreed to pay for that. We also know that the mechanicals will probably have to be lifted off the roof by crane. We don't have that number yet, but that is part of the claim also.
I did not think about that piece of it. Okay. What's our next step of action here?
So President York, I believe Ed Shin has a recommendation to go with Gluth Brothers for the roof repair and his reasoning.
Mr. Shin, if you might come up here and just kind of give us a kind of an analysis, your analysis of. introduce yourself, please,
Good
for the record.
afternoon. Ed Shin in the Department of Planning and Inspection. And I came here tonight to clarify the fact that through my research and discussions with our engineer and the balance of the Department of Planning and Inspection, that I have a little experience also in inspecting Gluth Brothers, and I recommend that we do hire Gluth Brothers. They've been in business for 139 years. So based on my research, I recommend Gluth Brothers for the base price of, on their contract without the extras or alternates, $380,989. Gluth Brothers has also offered to temporarily repair the roof until they're able to be out here to start the demo and the replacement by October 20th. And it should take 25 working days from there to complete the project.
That 380, that's not reflective of, that must not be reflective of what what GIS has for us right now, which reflects 471,000, if I'm not mistaken,
The
correct?
380 was the base,
Okay.
so you would have to add in all the
Okay.
alternates, and that would get us to the number that Ms. Fitzpatrick
This is
provided.
any questions of Mr. Shen or Ms. Fitzpatrick?
Is
Or
that-
Mr. or Ms.
that the-
Page?
Is that the earliest timeline for getting started on that?
That's correct. But they will, as I said before, at their expense, repair the roof temporarily to stop the leaking
Yes,
until they get started.
absolutely.
And that was a start date of October
October 20th,
20th.
and 25 days
25 working days.
to completion.
Mhm. And a lot of times in construction, that's ballpark close.
One of the questions that I did reach out and ask is, did City Hall need to be closed, or could we be, functional during that time? And the answer was, we did not need to close, that we could remain open. Certain doors may have to be closed for certain periods as we go through the process, but we can keep City Hall open.
Yes, and just for everyone's knowledge, we have not done estimates on interior damage because kind of premature until we get the water stopped from coming in because we keep finding new leaks that come up every time it rains. So we need to get the leaks sealed and then we can start kind of estimating that interior damage. Any other questions of Mr. Shen or Attorney LePage or anyone? Okay, should I open up for public comment at this time? Open it up for public comment. Any public comment?
Hey, Tommy Clark at 1316 Ohio Street. This sounds like a pretty good thing. I know Gluth Brothers have been in business for years over in Lake County and that. Well, it really needs a new city hall. I know this facility opened in 1979 when Joe LaRocco was the mayor. And when it originally opened, it was supposed to serve as both city hall and a civil defense shelter. That goes back way back when. So that's what I'm really hoping we get someday. Thank you. Like every good modern day city in the 21st century should have.
Thank you.
Hello, Scott Melanter, Kenwood Place. I'm not sure, there might be discrepancy in the numbers. The Gluth Brothers quote space was $380,000, and then we have approximately $90,000 of gutter and other things. The GIS lady said 360 was her starting number. That's the bid of another company, I believe. So I think we have a $20,000 question there to be clarified. It's just something I noticed in the comments. Thank you. Other than that, it's an insurance job, so we get to do it. So let's get it done right. And Gluth Brothers sounds like a good company to do it. But we need to clarify those numbers. Thank you.
The actual roof replacement is 381. At this moment in time, you've received 360,000 as part of the 1.1 million that you received.
But Jan, I'm sorry, but once we get it on, we could recover some of the depreciation. So it's a
Absolutely.
replacement cost. So that's where that additional monies will come into play. So once we get it actually on, we can turn around and then recover that 20.
We'll take a final invoice, some photos, and then recover the depreciation just on this building, and we can go building by building as we work through the city process. Or we can do that easily for each
Excellent.
building.
Excellent. Some of the unknowns that we, just for knowledge, is that we have skylights in this building. We don't know if they can be salvaged. Can they be repaired? Can they be put back on? There's some unknowns, like the lifting up of the utilities, or I'm sorry, mechanicals, things of that nature. So those are just some examples of things that we are unknown.
Right.
So-
We're probably gonna have to replace the skylights, because once we take the roof off, there's gonna be some issues with those, so it's better just to replace them. The insurance company agrees to that already, so we're in good shape on that one.
Excellent. Any other public comments? Any other public comments? Anything online? I don't see anything online. I see no hands raised. With that, I'll close public comments. Any other additional questions of anyone that has presented today? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I want a motion to approve with the amended.
I think we should we motion it with the amended amount of 471, or do we need to?
Well, you accept the base bid and all the
Yeah,
alternates, so
that's what
it's
we need to
the
do.
complete with all the alternates approved.
Motion to approve base bid with all the alternates. Support.
Call for the roll. Mr. Simmons?
Aye.
Miss Tisdale?
Hi.
Miss Smith?
Aye.
Miss Moore?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you so much for being here, and gosh, let's get City Hall fixed. Okay, with that. All right, our next order of business today is project closeout. Brad Minnick from Hassan Associates is requesting the approval and acceptance of substantial completion and final completion of the 2022-2 paving cycle project on August 6, 2024. Do you know anything about that one? Is Brad here? Oh, there is Brad. Yeah, he's in the back.
Good afternoon, Brad Minnick, Hassan Associates. As you said, this is project closeout from the paving contract from last year. Probably the biggest challenge to close out a project is the paperwork chase with the contractor. So I received the request for substantial completion and final completion to be issued from the contractor about 2 weeks ago. And so this is the formal presentation to the board for your signature. We'll issue both the substantial completion and the final completion certificates for the project. There's no money owed for the project, which is part of the sometimes leverage we use with the contractor to get the paperwork we need, but we have it now, so just asking for board's approval of it, so we can wrap up that job.
Any questions of Mr. Minnick? City engineer, do you have any issues with this? Yeah. Don't have any questions of Brad? Okay, hearing none, I'll open it up for public comment. Any public comments on this item? Any public comments at all? Going once, going twice. All right, I'll close out public comments. Do I hear a motion from the board to close out our CCMG paving contract for 2022-2?
Motion to approve.
For a second,
Second.
call for the vote. Mr. Simmons? Aye. Mr. Tisdale?
Hi.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Moore?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you, Brad, for being here today.
Thank you.
Okay, our next order of business is insurance policy approval. General Insurance Services is requesting approval of the 2024 Oktoberfest special event insurance policy. How you do?
Good evening, board. Matt Weber, General Insurance Services, here before you this evening. Get formal approval, as the package shows, for the 2024 Oktoberfest Special Events Insurance Policy. Brief recap, when this event came back a couple of years ago, the city decided that we get a special events insurance policy that is in force for the 4 days of the event, a setup day prior and a cleanup day after, offering general liability and liquor liability in excess of any vendors underneath underlying insurance policies. No changes to coverage from previous years, just here getting approval.
Excellent, thank you. Any questions of Matt? Any questions of the board? I know we've done this before, and thanks for bringing it back to us this time and working with us. I'll open up for public comments. Any public comments on this item? Any public comments? Anything online? Okay, hearing none, I'll close public comments. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve.
Do I hear a second?
Support.
Your motion and a second. Call for the vote. Mr. Simmons?
Aye.
Ms. Tisdale?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Moore?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you, Mr. Weber, for being here.
Thank you.
Next order of business is a request to purchase city-owned property. Edwin J. Graveline of 222 Fogarty Street is requesting to purchase city-owned property at Fogarty Street, parcel number 460121361005000022.
Good afternoon. My name is Ed Gravelin, and I am a current resident of Florida, but we've been renting for the last 3 years at 222 Fogarty. And we, in the past, were 16-year residents of Michigan City. We lived at 101 Washington Park Boulevard. We remodeled that property, and we believe in Michigan City. We used nothing but Michigan City vendors when we added on to that property, and used Richards Building Supply, Mid-City Plumbing, and Pioneer Lumber. I had the pleasure of coaching Don Przybylewski's son Joe at Marquette. My wife Sherry served on the Michigan City Zoo Board, and we are benefactors to the Besnick Center for the Arts. We have looked at the property and gotten some estimates. Sewer, to bring in sewer to the property would be approximately $20,000 to bring in water. We have not got a response back yet from NIPSCO. I believe there's a NIPSCO gas line running through the property, but there's no electric. It's a tough build. There's a lot of trees on the lot. Did the staff give you a copy of the beacon? Okay. We plan to, if we do plan to purchase the property, it's our intentions to do it under a separate corporation. Want to know if there's been, I asked the city attorney if there's been any activity, and they said no. I researched on the website and saw that there was an engineer that did something, but I wasn't able to find out what they did in 2019. So we're interested in finding out if there have been any appraisals done on the property. None to our knowledge.
Sorry, I was looking at the beacon. Any questions at this time, Mr. Graveline? I would look
You're
down.
looking at me to be the bearer of the bad news, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so years ago, and we're talking years ago, the Common Council gave permission for the city to put that property up for sale. We got 2 appraisals. Both of those appraisals are way antiquated. We tried to put that property up for sale twice. Nobody bid. Right now, with the circumstances, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Skylar, but we're kind of seeing that parcel as a critical piece of the city's real estate properties, that without a plan, I don't believe that the mayor is in favor of putting it up for sale at this time. So we've got a lot of things in the mix right now, so it's not something that, and I asked her today, is it something that you'd be interested in putting up with the Board of Works? And she said not at this time.
Yeah, right.
There is no interest in selling at this time, is it?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, but thank you. We did previously years ago.
Okay, thank you.
Do I need to open it up for public comment at this time, or
It's your call.
um? I'll open up for public comment. Why not?
Yeah, Tommy Klavik, 1316 Ohio Street. I know Donovan Garlitz, he made a request to purchase this property in April of 2022, just 2 years ago. And you denied it pretty much for the same reason we're gonna deny it now. So this needs to be flat out. It's a prime piece of real estate. Mayor Angie, she just needs, the mayor does have the authority over all the CO properties by statute. So she just needs to come up with a site plan for that. Thank you. So this needs to be denied.
Thank you. Any other public comments? Anything online? Okay, hearing none, close public comments. Do we need to take a vote or anything like that? Official denial?
Is there
Probably.
need to be a motion?
Okay. All
Motion to deny.
for a second.
Support.
Call for the vote. Mr. Simmons?
Aye.
Mr. Tisdale?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Moore?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Okay, our next order of business is a request for additional employees. Ron Lantroop, Slice of Heaven, is requesting an additional employee for his mobile food vendor license. Is Mr. Lantroop here today? I don't see him out in the audience. Is there any issues with his
No,
request?
he did say that this would be his last request for additional employees. He said that they have gotten extremely busy this year, so that's why he has not been able to make it to the meetings, because next thing he knows, it's that time to go and it's too late.
Okay, so, but everything is in order for to be granted. There's nothing
Yes,
that
yes.
doesn't prevent us to grant this. Okay, okay. Any questions of the board? I'll open up for public comment. Any public comment on this subject? Anything online? All right, I'll close public comment. What's the pleasure of the board? Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve. Additional employee.
Heard a motion and a second. I'll call for the vote. Mr. Simmons?
Aye.
Mr. Tisdale?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Moore?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Glad he's doing well. Next order of business is a street enhancement. Councilman Don Prespolinski is requesting for the Board of Works to contact CSX Railroad for a projected start date to fix the railroad crossing at Woodland Ave. Mr. Prespolinski?
There we go. Afternoon, Board of Works members, City Councilman Don Prespolinski. And yes, what my request is requesting for the Board of Works to contact the CSX Railroad for a projected start date for the Woodland Avenue crossing. I was here at the July 15th meeting and made the suggestion that although the CSX has been in Michigan City to repair Risky Ave, Greenwood Ave, a couple other crossings, to me, they did not repair the most critical crossing, and that's at Woodland Ave. And as of today, I'm not trying to be facetious, I took a ride over that crossing and they still haven't started it. So, and why I say this and why I think it's so important is because we stand here today, mid-August, and it's going to be September, October, November, 3 months. Winter is going to be here. That crossing is going to be terrible. It's terrible now. And it needs to be repaired. Otherwise, all the citizens from the east side of town, south side of town that use Woodland Ave as a thoroughfare are going to be saying, what has the city done for the last year and a half? Because the first time I requested that these crossings be done is back in the spring of 2023. So this is nothing new to the city and it's nothing new to the city administrations, both the past and the city administration that's in now. And it's a safety issue is what it is. It's the same safety issue that we dealt with back when we had Tilden Ave, when we had to block off Tilden Ave a year ago, Ohio Street, when we had to block off Ohio Street, and we had to bring the congressman's aid or the senator's aid into Michigan City to show these crossings. And Attorney LePage is well aware of what I'm speaking of, because she was involved with some of the discussions with the aid and with the past mayor. The other thing is that the Michigan City school systems buses, when they distribute out of the transportation center there on Woodland Ave, some go to the south, some go to the north. And the ones that go to the north, they all go over Woodland Ave and they hit that rough crossing. So I'm sure that that could be doing some type of maintenance damage to the buses and maybe run up the repairs on that. We all know what has to be done there, and it's all our responsibilities as leaders of Michigan City, whether it's the city council, whether it's the mayor, or whether it's the Board of Works members. But we need to, and I'm saying the Board of Works needs to get a hold of the CSX Railroad and get an answer. And I'm requesting that this stays on the pending items list so that we know every 2 weeks where this stands and when we're going to get this crossing done. And one thing I'm going to say about the railroad and for the city is that no is not an acceptable answer from the CSX Railroad to say that they're not going to get it done this year. So that's my request, and I hope that the board honors it, and I hope they get a hold of the CSX Railroad. And if you need any help, give me a call, because I still have Senator Braun's phone number in my phone, and I can give him a call, and I'm sure that he would be more than happy to come to Michigan City and take a look at this railroad crossing that I'm talking about. Thank you very much.
Any comments from the board? Any questions from the board?
I fully agree with the Councilman Prespolinski, and I vividly recall all of those times that he's referring to. And I've driven that myself numerous times, and I'm at a loss for why it isn't repaired yet. Summer's almost over. So let's make those urgent calls and get it done.
Yeah, Mr. Warner, do you have any comments? I'm sorry, I saw you talking. If you don't have to, but
No, Tim Werner, city engineer. Early this spring, I got a email from CSX engineer saying that they would be moving from Michigan, St. Joe, Michigan, south on that line. Probably about mid-March, they started through Michigan City. They did two crossings at a time. Tryon Railroad crossings were done. Then they moved to Greenwood and Risky crossings. They had those closed for a couple of weeks, and then Carroll and Jackson, and then they disappeared. They were supposed to continue throughout the town, and I have not seen them come back. So I can contact the contact that I had, their engineer who was working on the program, see if he's still involved in it and see if he can get me any answers, and I can get back to you, Skylar, this week, and you can report to the board by our next meeting.
that sounds good. I thought that's what we had discussed, that they were coming through the city, but I didn't know that they had just kind of disappeared.
Yeah, once they
Okay.
finished Jackson, it seemed like
Makes sense.
they're ghosting us.
Okay. Yes, if you don't mind, please. Thank you. Any other comments from the board? Hold on, Tommy, I get you. Okay, any other?
Just to say it again, it's urgent. It's a safety issue. Before we start receiving claims.
Absolutely.
I will, I mentioned Don Prisbalinski mentioned the school buses. FedEx has a large distribution center there too, and a lot of things are coming in and out crossing that crossing too.
It's got a lot of travel over that transit there.
I will make a comment. So we do get lots of complaints about that in the mayor's office as well, that specifically Woodland. And I have been in contact with both the senators' offices, and they are aware, So we tell people when they complain that we will give them a call, and we also tell people to call the senators' offices as well, and we've given them their phone numbers.
Excellent. Any public comment?
Yeah, Tommy Kalavic, 1316 Oak Street. This just shows how these railroads have been such a very poor business partner for Michigan City. I know Amtrak, they closed their station shop maybe 3 years ago. They still got all their signage and their shanty up from there. They're not going to take that down. The CSX with the railroad crossings over there, we still haven't gotten a quiet zone for the railroad that we put $200,000 on. They still got the plastic bags over the sign that says no train horns. So, let's get it going, railroads.
No public comment.
Ernie Hollihan, 302 Gladys Street. That particular crossing, I have been to city council. I have complained to the previous mayor. And when the guys were doing the crossings abundant to that crossing, I asked them, are you going to go to this one next? And they didn't. They skipped Woodland and went to Jackson. So I have been complaining about this crossing for a long time. I've been to the city council about it, and I even complained to those guys working, and they didn't know what's going on. But I don't cross it no more. I go down to Jackson Street and cross because it is that bad. It's going to destroy some people's cars. I see auto parts laying around it already now. So they need to do something. Thank you.
Any other comments? Anything online? Okay, I'm close public comments. Any other further comments from the board, or do we want to make a motion to refer this to I think the appropriate motion would probably be to refer this to Mr. Warner to make the phone calls and then have him report back to us, and then we keep it on our pending list.
Can we say the next meeting?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Is that enough time for you, Mr. Warner? You think?
I have a quick question.
Absolutely.
And how, is it difficult to make contact with them? They won't answer anything? They won't answer calls? They won't answer emails? Do we go knock on their door?
I, through my whole career, have had very, very difficult times working with railroads all over the Chicagoland area. But the engineers are usually easy to work with. At least they have some inside track with the railroads. So I'll contact the engineer that notified me of the work originally this spring and see if I can get some information from him. Okay.
Here a motion to refer this to our engineer Warner, our city engineer Tim Warner, and place this on our pending items list.
So moved.
Support.
Call for the vote. Mr. Simmons?
Aye.
Ms. Tisdale?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Moore?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. And we'll hopefully get something back out to everyone at the next meeting. Okay, our next order of business is Tommy Kalavic of 1316 Ohio Street is requesting to replace the missing concrete sidewalk panel at 1502 Elston Street.
Hear ye. This is Tommy Kalavic from 1316 Ohio Street. I am requesting to replace a missing concrete sidewalk panel at 152 Ohio Street. I walk by this all the time. I'd like to go visit, our nice establishments that we like to go out and eat and drink all the time. And I see this all the time. I emailed you the Google imagery from like 2018 when the sidewalk panel was in place. They probably put that in back in the 20s when the waterworks was established under Mayor Krieger. It shows the cap for the water shut off was embedded in the sidewalk. And apparently the owner of the vacant structure that's on that parcel had some work done back in 2021. They had to remove that panel. Well, they removed the panel, but they never replaced it. And apparently this contractor's now skipped town. So the city's gonna be on the hook at. So I'm hoping that we can get this maybe done, maybe at the next paving cycle. And just, you know, I go visit other cities in their neighborhoods. They don't have missing sidewalk panels and some of the crumbling infrastructure like we have in Michigan City. So, you know, let's get it together. Thank you.
Adam Suzik, Assistant Director for Street Department. I've looked at this missing panel, and that is something that we will be able to fix, and we can probably get that. We can probably schedule that in the next couple of weeks.
Excellent. We're gonna fix it in-house?
Yeah.
Excellent.
We can take care of this. This is one small panel. So, yeah. we
Not
can
too
take care
bad.
of that.
Awesome. That's excellent. Any comments or questions of either Adam or Mr. Klovic? Mr. Warner, obviously, yeah.
When this was first brought to my attention, I looked into it with the water department because it was indicated that was a water valve relocate done. It was done by private contractors, Tommy mentioned, and that contractor was based in LaPorte. The information that was on the 811 ticket from 2021, when the work was done, that contractor doesn't exist anymore. So there was no way we could get any money out of the contractor to fix it. So I'm glad the street department can take care of this.
Excellent. Thank you for doing the research. Yeah, let's and let me open it for public comment, and then any public comment on this one? Any public comment? Anything online? Okay, I'm gonna close public comment. Could we make a motion to repair the panel in-house? And then Adam, will you just come back and let us know when it's repaired? Could we do that? You think, how long are we thinking? Second Board of Works meeting in September? Okay. Okay. Do I hear a motion to that effect?
So moved.
So our motion is to fix this in-house, have our street department fix this in-house, repair this panel in-house. And then they would come back to us on September 16th and let us know if it's fixed or if there were issues or anything like that. Do we hear a second? Support. Call for the vote. Mr. Simmons? Aye. Ms. Tisdale?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Moore?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. And thank you, Adam, for stepping forward and doing that for us. We appreciate it. Thank you, Tommy, for bringing it to our attention. Next order of business is a sidewalk closure for a race walk. Minority Health Partners of LaPorte County is requesting sidewalk closure for their annual breast cancer walk, starting at 2722 Wabash Street to Barker Ave, then to Franklin Ave, going south, then turn right on Patinia Ave, past Ames Field, and finishing back on Wabash Street on October 5th, 2024 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Is there anyone here representing this request? Anyone here representing this request? Mr. Wright, or Corporal Wright, have you reviewed? Do you have any comments on this one? I'll see you in the back. Is
I
anyone
think he's
online?
online.
Okay, there is someone online. Let's see, who made the request? Oh, hey, Keisha. This is Keisha. Are you online for us? Miss Ward?
Can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Okay, yes, Keisha Ward from Minority Health Partners of LaPorte County. And this is our regular walk, our annual breast cancer walk that we have each year. And we will be starting over there on the west side, as you stated, over at 2722 Wabash Street. And we will take our normal route up Wabash going north. And we'll be turning out to Franklin and back up past Ames Field and returning right back to that church, which is on 2722 Wabash Street. We just need the use of the sidewalks.
Okay, excellent. That's was one of my questions. You're only closing sidewalks, so we don't need crossing guards and things of that nature necessarily.
Yes.
Right. I'll hand it off to Corporal Wright.
You didn't have to, but they're staying on the sidewalks. I don't think last year I did anything with this at all.
Okay.
So if there is something we can do though to assist, just let me know and we'll get it taken care of.
I really appreciate it.
Sure.
Thank you.
Any questions of Miss Ward? Any questions of Miss Ward? Okay, open it for public comment. Any public comments on this subject? Any public comments on this request? Anything online? Okay, hearing none, I'll close public comments. Do I hear a motion from the board regarding this?
Motion to approve.
Support.
Excellent. I'll call for the vote. Mr. Simmons?
Aye.
Ms. Tisdale?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Moore?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you, Ms. Ward.
Thank you. Thank you.
Our next order of business is postponing of a special event. Criterion Productions is requesting to postpone the Last Splash Street Festival for September 28th, 2024 to September 27th, 2025. I have to admit, I'm rather sad about that, but I know things happen. So please come up and tell us a little bit about what's going on, and we'd love to see you resume this event at a later date. I would.
Jeff Miller with Criterion Productions. As I had mentioned in our letter to the board, circumstances kind of got away from us shortly after our last visit here and put us in a position where we felt that it was not, we would be unable to put on an event that was going to be a quality event. And the postponement puts us on a more traditional 1-year cycle for planning of a special event. And we felt it would be better to enter into a new market on a solid footing rather than trying to scramble and not be quite so settled in the event.
Fair enough. Any questions of the petitioner?
We are disappointed.
I'm a little we got the wiring, we've got it ready to go, so it's not. I understand things. We understand things happen. It just is what it is. Any questions? Ms. Moore?
It just seems like a long way away to be committing to right now, and I mean, I'm happy to do so.
No, I was going to ask that question. Do you need? I mean, is it imperative that we set this today, or could we come back at a more reasonable distance, but in for the future of kind of scheduling this, just to make sure we don't approve it and then have to come back again if it's a bad weekend or something like that, or.
Well, we would like to move forward with the weekend. The planning, we can certainly revisit it as we get closer.
Okay, that's fair enough. That's a fair enough request too. That gives you plenty of time to kind of prep for the event or the occasion.
Especially for a 1 year, for a new event, the cycle is usually about 12 months of planning. So we're kind of in that same ballpark.
I might also mention that your application was probably one of the most thorough applications that we've ever received, and we really appreciate that very much. And it's obviously put a lot of thought and planning and time and effort into that application, so we appreciate that. I'm okay with. I mean, I'm okay with giving them the weekend. We still need to go to, I think, the redevelopment commission and get that approval again, which shouldn't be an issue. If you're saying that it gives you a good 12 months of prep, that makes sense.
Right, and once an event is established, that cycle shortens because you've got a whole bunch of work that's already done. But that first year, or the inaugural event, you really do need 12 months.
Okay.
So other than the date, would everything else in your original application stay the same?
Essentially, yes.
Okay.
It just allows us to build the supporting infrastructure out and the corporate structures that go into place and to get partners into place.
Okay. We would just need an updated certificate of insurance next year, but.
That's kind of what I was thinking, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, other than that, we'd be fine.
So maybe we could lock in the date pending receipt of an updated certificate of insurance after the first of the year, something to that effect. Would that be appropriate?
And approval by the redevelopment.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Okay, let me open it up for public comment and see them get to the motion. Any public comment on this topic, on this petition?
Hello, Scott Melton, Kenwood Place. I was going to suggest something along the lines of a tentative approval pending a more timely update when it gets closer to season, something like that. As I recall, and you clarified, these folks gave you the most complete application pretty much of anybody. In fact, you want to use it as a model for other people. And just him notifying you that he has to delay it shows good business practice and good faith. But some sort of tentative approval or pending, things when it's more appropriate, 4 months out or something like that would be probably appropriate. Thank you.
Any other public comments? Any other public comments online? Hearing none, I'm gonna close public comments. Do I hear a motion from the board to the effect of approving the date of the 27th of 2025, September 27th, 2025, to lock that in and give him the assurance that he can start planning for the event, but pending receipt of the redevelopment commission's approval and a new certificate of insurance after the first of the year. Is that appropriate motion? Or did I capture everything?
Yeah, do you want to just lock it in by a certain day?
Tell me what you're thinking.
I don't know, maybe no later than March 1st of 2025 that we have the plans.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Is that fair enough?
Okay?
Yeah, March 1st works for us.
Okay.
Okay. It's a big motion.
I make a motion to approve the date. Lock that in for you pending approval from the redevelopment commission and a updated COI by March 1st of 2025.
That's great. Very good.
Support. Very good.
All right. I call for the vote. Mr. Simmons? Aye. Ms. Santisto? Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Moore?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you for coming to us, and I do agree that this shows that you're the professionalness that you guys.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next order of business is a street enhancement. Scott Mellon of 200 Kenwood Place, I should know this by now, is requesting to make Arthur Street a one-way eastbound at Franklin Street due to obstructed view to the south going westbound at the Franklin Street intersection.
I'm afraid I made a mistake in the application. It's the wrong A street. This is actually Alfred Street. This is reference to the bus stop that Councilman Prispalinski brought up in the past. I apologize. They're the same number of letters. They start with A. I mean, I tried. In any case, I don't know. This is a potential solution in search of a problem in my actual reassessment. I drove this very carefully today. And when you stop at the stop sign, there's no stop line on the street this time, but when you stop at the stop sign, you have a clear vision to the south, in my opinion, to turn left. However, if we did make this one-way eastbound there, a second correction is that in looking at a map, and if it pleased the board, I think Drew might have a satellite view available, but on maps it shows Joyce Street, the next street to the north, running to Franklin, and in fact Joyce Street does not run through. It's being turned into a parking lot for Ivy Tech. Apparently we granted them the road for a parking lot. So my proposed solution now would force people to detour and make two left turns, once onto Barker and then once again onto Franklin. And I think that's probably too great an inconvenience. If Joyce Street was available, they could exit there, and that would be a safer place to turn. So again, this was just an idea. If it's that much of an obstruction or problem, to make it eastbound, make it one-way inbound, that wouldn't affect Health Link because people can still get in easily. It just changes how people exit that area. It is a relatively small neighborhood behind there, so a relatively few number of people would be affected. But again, having to make two left turns now instead of just one that's maybe semi-obstructed might be a step too far. It's just something for the board to consider, and even I am not sure what the right answer is here. Again, it might be a solution in search of a problem. Because as we've discussed several times in front of this board, although the bus stop is now there, it meets all engineering guidelines. And if you've driven it yourself and you make a proper stop, there is visibility. So for what it's worth, I'm not even sure what the right thing to do is myself. But I thought I'd throw it out there so we could discuss it one more time. Thank you.
Any thoughts from the board, questions from the board? Mr. Simmons, I see you over there.
As I stated before, I like that idea that Scott brought up that before. It's my thinking it's easy. You just have to go to Barker and Franklin, which has a traffic light, which makes it much better. We can throw it out to the engineer and the corporal to do logistic study on it. I mean, get back with us.
Mr. Werner, do you have any comments? I see you smiling. Any thoughts, comments?
Tim Werner, city engineer, beating a dead horse again. As we indicated earlier, there is no real sightline problems at that intersection. It's the pleasure of the Board of Works if they want to move forward with changing the direction of the street and doing the signage and everything there. But people can go use Barker now if they're uncomfortable. Use the signal. I prefer that myself. That's what I do. So that's, that's the board's call. There's no engineering reason to make the change.
Corporal Wright, I see you approaching. I'm gonna ask you to come up here.
Don't mind my cell phone, I apologize, but I just pulled traffic crash stats for the last 5 years. And in the last 5 years, starting to be August 1st of 2019, there have only been 7 crashes there. And it appears that all of the crashes are from issues of people driving on Franklin Street, nothing with Alfred Street. So just to add that in.
Okay. Thank you for adding that statistics to it. I'll open it up for public comment. Or are there any other comments from the board? Okay, I'll open it up for public comments. Any public comments on this? Anything online? Okay, I will close public comment. Is there a motion from the board? Really don't want to expend I agree with Mr. Werner. I don't know that we have an issue if we've already said we're making an issue of something we've said isn't an issue. So, and I don't disagree. You could go to the Barker as it is right now. I don't necessarily want to use his time wisely. Is there any motion from the board or thoughts of the board? It would be, I would say what's being asked of us is to consider changing it to a one-way. And in order to do that, I think you'd have to recommend to our city engineer to do that. But our city engineer is telling us that we're trying to solve an issue that we've already said doesn't exist.
Motion to deny.
We're a second.
Second.
Call for the vote. Mr. Simmons.
I concur.
Ms. Tisdale.
Aye.
Ms. Moore.
Aye.
I'm sorry, Ms. Smith, Ms. Moore.
Aye.
You're paying attention. I'm not. Chair votes aye as well. Our next order of business today is a request for parking signage and lines. John Traub, hope I'm saying that correctly, 107 Nevada Ave is requesting the following. No parking this side signage on the east side of Nevada Avenue. Parking line to be painted on the west side of Nevada to facilitate angled parking. Mr. Traub, will you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your petition and your request?
Yes, thank you. John Traub, 107 Nevada. Thank you for hearing my request today. I've submitted a picture that shows the essence of the problem on Nevada in the summer, we typically have at least one contractor a week who deems that it's their right to park on the sidewalk on Nevada Avenue when we have parking on the other side of the street. That contractor in particular, I asked him that day, and I've asked all the contractors if he could just please park on the angle parking on the side. He said sure, and he never did. My wife asked him to move, and his exact comment was, there's no signs, I can park wherever I want. So hence, I'm here today to request at least maybe 3 signs on Nevada that say no parking on this side so that we can inform our contractors to park where it's appropriate. And then along with that, there are no lines. When the street was repaved several years ago, there were lines previously for the angle parking, and they were never repainted. So I'm requesting the angle lines on the east side of Nevada be reinstated.
And for the public's knowledge, just in case, this is a one-way south, correct? Or north?
South, it's
South.
away from the lake.
Yes, and the angle is on the, so it's angled, so we're going south and we're angled on the west side.
Correct.
Yes. Any questions of Mr. Trump? Board have any questions? Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I'm hogging the picture. Any questions? We'll hand it around and see if there's any questions. Give us just a second. So what you're looking at. So let me make sure I understand. The angle parking exists at the end of Nevada. Does it go all the way down?
All the way down on
Okay.
the east side, yes.
Okay, on the west side.
you're right.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wait, on the west side. Yes, yes. Oh, excellent. This is perfect. So it's on the west side. And then they're parking on the east side and they're blocking basically, and it looks like they're parked the wrong way.
Well, they're
on,
parked the
if they
correct way, but they're blocking the sidewalk. Anybody walking to the beach would walk in the street. You can see in the picture the car, and that's our car parked in the correct parking spot over there. And I'm afraid they're gonna hit our car. It's at least once a week, we see a contractor parked illegally.
So before we make could we take a look at this one? If they would please the board, but I will open up for public comment. I think what we really need to know is how wide this street is with the angle in it, or with the angle parking in it, and see what's left to make sure that we're making the right decisions. Okay, I'm gonna pass this down this way. Let's see it. Okay, any other questions of Mr. Traub before? Any questions? We'll open it up for public comment. Any public comment on this one?
Yeah. Scott Melton, Kenwood Place. It seems the problem is this, it's not striped.
Don't disagree with that one. That's why I was like,
you can see that with the angled parking, it's parking on one side only effectively to avoid the expense and the installation costs. Let's stripe it first and see if the problem continues would be my suggestion. Less signs are always better. Thank you.
I would like the opportunity to maybe go with Mr. Werner down here and kind of look at this if that's the pleasure of the board. But let's get any other public comment. Any other comments online? Ms. Moore, do you have a comment? Oh, I thought you were reaching. Sorry. Yeah, absolutely. Let's hear it.
Hello, this is Dakota Euler, 718 Emma Street. Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I would agree. This seems like a pretty narrow street. And I definitely see the need for designated parking. But I do think it should be going before the engineer to see how wide the street actually is. I know there's numerous streets within the Michigan city that could benefit from some markings on the roadway. Like Springland Ave, Michigan Boulevard. So I would have liked to see this passed with some signage and possibly some engineering studies. Thank you.
Any other public comments online? Okay, hearing none, I'm gonna close public comment. I think I would like to ask the board to refer this to the city engineer and city planning department to see exactly what we got going on with respect to the sides of the street, what's left over to actually travel in, and then come back and make a recommendation if that'd be okay. Was that okay, Mr. Werner? I don't want to know you're busy, but I think we could do this rather quickly. Yeah, we'll get to go to the beach right now. No, it's fine. We could do this probably rather quickly and come back to the board probably at our next meeting and be prepared to say yay, nay on the no parking on the east side versus angle parking on the west side. Is that okay? So So I think I would make a recommendation, if I can hear a motion to refer this to the city engineering department and planning department and pending or with a report back at our next regular scheduled Board of Works meeting.
Motion to refer this to the engineer and planning department and with to come back with a recommendation to the board at our next Board of Works meeting.
Yeah, I think that would give us time. Support. Call for the vote. Mr. Simmons? Aye. Ms. Tisdale?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Moore?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. And Tim, just let me know when you want to go. You can wait till tomorrow, maybe. Okay, our next order of business is insurance renewal, city employees health insurance renewal. I think GIS is here. Absolutely.
Good evening. Eric Gibson with GIS. This is Craig Meddy, my colleague. So we are here on behalf of the insurance committee. You guys have your 10-1 health insurance renewal coming up. We did go out to market for you guys, evaluate a lot of different stop loss markets, fully insured plans, ICHRA plans. What you guys have in front of you are the two best options. So the plan on the left is your current plan with UMR and Berkeley. Next column over is the renewal with UMR and Berkeley, which is about a 10.4% increase. The next column over is a UMR Symetra offer, which is actually a 2.15% increase. So our recommendation, as you would imagine, is to go with the 2.15% increase.
Okay, any questions of what's being presented to the Board of Works? I will look to our city attorney, or have you had time to review all these as well?
I'm fine with the recommendation. How much logistical implementation is this though for the city? Like, what's the internal workings? Easy on you, Tanisha? Okay, good.
Yeah, very.
Good. Okay.
City Controller's Office happy with this?
Controller's office is very happy with a 2% increase. We sure are.
Excellent. Excellent. Any other questions of the board? I'll open up for public comments. Any public comments? Anything online? Okay. Miss George, did you have anything you needed to add to this? Are we good? Okay. Excellent. I'll close public comments. Do I hear a motion from the board?
Motion to accept the recommendation.
Is there a second? Support. I'll call for the vote. Mr. Simmons? Aye. Ms. Tisdale?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Moore?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Our next order of business is updates. Eric, I see you back there in the back. You're going to give us some updates on special events for our parks or our basically our special events for the city. Thank you for being here.
Good afternoon, Board. Eric Williams, Michigan City Special Events. We are coming off, of course, the Great Lakes Grand Prix from the first weekend of August. Overall, a very well-run event, from the boat parade to the block party to the races themselves. A few minor heat-related incidences, but overall nothing major to report. Just a huge thank you to the Michigan City Park Maintenance Department for all their work in the cleanup of that. And we've already had a recap meeting working towards next year and continuing to improve our process so that we can continue to grow the race the right way. Next up for us, Michigan City Special Events is going to be Oktoberfest. That's going to be Labor Day weekend in Washington Park. Friday, August 31st through Sunday, September 1st, we will be 12 o'clock to 10 o'clock. Monday, September 2nd, 12 to 6. We will have over 50 bands across 3 stages, 13 food vendors, including authentic German food, 50 plus art craft merchandise vendors. I would
Guess we're gonna finish right around 60, which is an increase from last year. Kids games are gonna have a small kids zone with a couple of kids games, and we're working to finalize a video game tournament. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you guys may have.
Any questions of Eric? Thank you for doing I saw you out there working really hard, so I
absolutely.
appreciate it.
Absolutely, thank you.
Okay. Our next order of business, thank you for that update. Our next order of business is payroll docket for August 9th, 2024. City payroll. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Motion to approve. Support.
Call for the vote. Mr. Simmons? Ms. Tisdale?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Moore?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Our next order of business is claims docket for August 19th, 2024. Do we hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Support.
Call for the vote. Mr. Simmons?
Aye.
Ms. Tisdale?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Moore?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Next order of business is our unfinished business and pending items. Our first item on here is a road surface repair. Erica Murray of 3213 Springland Ave is requesting to have the pitched road fixed in front of her home due to groundwater getting too high and not being able to drain into the storm basin. And I do believe Mr. Werner has been working with us to try to get this resolved. This was tabled June 3rd, 2024.
Yeah, I went out and looked at the site several times after recent rains, and the water isn't standing on the road, the water is standing in the curb. I think the curb is settled a little bit, but since it's not affecting the asphalt pavement, it does drain down the curb line out to the drains. There's not enough standing water after a rain event to cause any pavement damage, so I recommend we just kind of keep it on the list for a future road improvement and try to modify the profile a little bit at some point when the road gets in such a bad pacer rating that it needs to be readjusted. But right now, it's not causing any moisture to set on the roadway pavement itself, the asphalt. So it's just standing in the gutter of the curb and gutter.
Okay. So it sounds like your recommendation is to keep this on the list are we keeping this on the list of the pending items, or is it to move it to when we redo Springland and add it to that list with respect to CCMG or a paving project at Springland?
Yeah, it would have to be on a paving project. But again, like I say, there's not a real serious grade issue there causing any standing water on the pavement. So it's a far distant for the next city engineer, perhaps. Or the next one after that even, so. I mean, that road's been there since 71 or 72 when Tall Timbers went in, and it's probably been that way ever since.
Okay. Do I hear a motion from the board? You hear the city engineer's comments. Let me open up for public comment at this time first. Any public comment on this item? Anything on? All right, close public comment. What's the pleasure of the board? You heard the city engineer's recommendation. Any
motion to put it on a future paving list?
Whenever that be.
Yeah.
Do I hear a second to that?
Second.
Do we need to remove it from the item? Do we need to make that motion first? So I also hear it amended. Maybe we could. Would you amend your motion to also include taking it off the table?
I would like to amend my motion and amend taking it off the table.
Along with recommending it to.
Along with the recommendation of putting it on the future paving list.
Okay.
Second.
Call for the vote. Mr. Simmons.
Aye.
Ms. Tisdale.
Aye.
Ms. Smith.
Aye.
Ms. Moore.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Our next order of business is a street enhancement. Daniel Racky of 508 East 2nd Street is requesting to install a curb gutter and possibly a sidewalk to the east side of Taylor Street at 216 Taylor Street. This was tabled November 6th, 2023. Tim, do you have any update for us on this one? I think I know what your recommendation is.
I spoke with John Gorsica at the Sanitary District. They have a RFP in place to do some improvements there, but currently they don't have the budget to do the repairs. I don't know what that budget is. I haven't seen it, but I can get that information from them. Steve Stanford, who resigned from the Sanitary District, is working on it, and I think John's found the plan that was in there. So I haven't had a chance to look at what they were doing, but I know it involved some curb work, I think, along that east side of Taylor Street in front of the building. So I'll try to get together with that in the next couple of weeks here before the next Board of Works and see if we got a number assigned to cost for that improvement.
Okay. But even then, if there's no money to do the actual RFP or what was bid out in the RFP, does it just stay on our list?
Then stays on our list and we come begging somebody for some money.
Okay. Okay, I'll open this one up for public comment. Any public comment on this item? Anything online? Okay, I'm gonna close public comment. And what's the pleasure of the board? Do we want to keep this on for another month?
I make a motion to keep it on our pending unfinished business for another month based on Mr. Warner's feedback after making contact.
Second.
I'll call for the vote. Mr. Simmons. Aye. Ms. Tisdale.
Aye.
Ms. Smith.
Aye.
Ms. Moore.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Okay, our next order of business is a traffic control. Scott Malin of 200 Kenwood Place is requesting to change the traffic signals at the NICD crossings so that people won't run the red lights going northbound after a train passes and the gates go up. I do believe Mr. Warner is working on this one. It's just a matter of getting it. I believe we've issued a notice to proceed to do this project. Correct? We're just waiting on it to be done.
I requested a proposal from our traffic signal firm that does all of our maintenance, and the proposal was a cost to remove the 5-section head and eliminate that signal phasing for the turn with just a normal 3-signal head, and that was $1,355. I have not given the go-ahead to Ray Russell at Midwest Electric to start this. He needs 2 weeks to get the parts, and then he'll be able to do it the next day. So if the Board of Works is fine with proceeding with that, which I recommend we do, I can give them the notice to proceed and we'll move forward with getting that corrected so we don't have people running a red light going northbound on Franklin.
Okay. And we have identified money for this, correct? Correct. I would like to see this happen because I keep seeing it being an issue continuously, even as of yesterday. So I'll open up for public comment. Any public comment on this item? Anything online?
No, actually.
Okay, go ahead.
Scott Mellon, 200 Kenwood Place. I'd only point out that even after they change the head, we have to change the timing. That they both turn green simultaneously.
Part of it.
Yeah, it's all
To be
included.
sure.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, it'll all have to be retimed, signalized, retimed. There was quite a few things in there that had to be done. Correct. Any other public comment? Hearing none, I'll close public comment. What's the pleasure of the board? Mr. Warner has made a recommendation that he has asked our signal providers to fix this. I think it's $1,355, and he just needs basically a notice to an approval of the Board of Works so that he can tell them to go ahead, and then there's a little bit of lead time on that. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve the repair of what, $1,365?
I think it was $1,355.
$55. So we can move forward with the repair.
Support.
Excellent. Call for the vote. Mr. Simmons?
Aye.
Mr. Tisdale?
Aye.
Ms. Smith,
Aye.
Ms. Moore.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you, Tim, for continuing to get that done for us. Our next request is a traffic signage request. Councilman Donna Prespolinski is requesting to install school crosswalk signs at Cool Spring Ave and Cleveland Ave. This was tabled July 15th, 2024. I do believe Mr. Warner has looked at this one too, so I'm going to ask him to come back up here. He might as well just stay up here because the next one's for you as well.
Cleveland and Cool Spring, we just did the four-way stop at that location. There's no sidewalk south of Cool Spring to get down to the schools. There's no crosswalks, ADA ramps or anything at Cleveland and Cool Spring right now to cross Cool Spring. So it would be a major contract work to get those ramps installed and a crosswalk put in. If the Board of Works wants me to proceed with that, I can look at getting a design together for the ADA ramps to go north-south across Cool Spring at Cleveland, probably be on the western or the eastern leg, since there's a little more room on that side to come across, and there's a sidewalk going north-south on that west side north of, or east side north of Cool Spring. So we can look at it together, Skylar, in your office this week, but looking at it, I mean, at this point, we can't just do a crosswalk without a sidewalk to get to them.
That was my question. Yeah. So we'd just be putting in a crosswalk with no
sidewalk,
nowhere to land.
Nowhere to land and nowhere to get to it without walking in the road. So.
Okay. That was my question, is that although we build the pad for ADA compliance with the truncated domes and all that, but it leads to nowhere.
Right.
Are we able to do that from an ADA standpoint?
We're basically allowing students to cross from one side of Cool Spring to the other at Cleveland, but there's nowhere to go off the sidewalk on Cool Spring.
Okay, so we're
on a sidewalk.
So we're more or less looking at it as creating like a safe crossing.
Yeah, there's currently a school crosswalk markings at Tilden, but we removed the stop and the signs are there. So, I mean, that's where it is now, and there are ADA ramps and everything there. So students can get across the road at Tilden. There's just no stop signs there.
Oh, okay. Okay, I understand.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll open it up for public comment. Don, you have anything you want to add? I see you there, kind of.
Well, I guess I understand all the engineering regulations that go behind this. I'm just looking at the consequences of what took place from moving the stop sign from Tilden and Cool Spring down to Cleveland. Where are these children going to cross with some type of warning signs for the traffic that's coming up on Cool Spring Ave? We all know how busy Cool Spring Ave is, and the board can do what they want to do, but from a common sense standpoint and for the safety of the children, maybe you should just vote yes, put some signs in, and then we'll deal with everything. Sidewalks and, $1 million worth of sidewalks now to get down to Edgewood School, which is going to cost a ton of money. But, that's my suggestion. I'm not a voting member, but when the stop sign issue came up here, and it was a great idea, I don't think enough thought went into it from a lot of folks in a lot of departments that should have said, hey, we need to really take a look at this. We got children crossing. We're moving it from here down to here. What are we going to do? So my suggestion is to put signage there, and then we'll deal with everything else later. Thank you.
Any other public comments? All right, hearing none on closed public comments. Mr. Warner, I believe your suggestion was that we take a look at this and make a recommendation back to the board, and we look at this from more of a safe crossing rather than trying to provide the compliance that we're trying to create a crossing that is safe. Okay. Would we like to do this? Could we get maybe a second meeting of next month? Would that give us time? We're putting a lot on our plate. I'm just trying to space out some things. Does that work for your timing? And then we come back and make a recommendation for what we think creates that safe crossing. Okay. That's the 16th, I believe you told me.
I have a question.
Absolutely.
Can the school system provide a crossing guard at certain times of to assist with the crossing of the kids at certain times of the day?
I do not know that, but we could ask that question. I do not know the answer to that. Oh, Corporal Wright, you have the answer.
As I deal with the crossing guards, I believe that would be entirely up to the city to open up that position for a full-time crossing guard to be there, because that's a city paid position, not a school system paid position. So it'd be up to the city to make that determination if they would want a crossing guard there.
Excellent. Any other questions? Any other questions, Mr. Simmons? What's the pleasure of the board? Can we hold this over till our September 16th meeting and give us time to come up with a solution for a safe crossing? We come back and make a recommendation. I think that probably would be signage or striping or whatever that recommendation may be. Can always ask. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's budgeting time. I can always ask. So, yeah. Yeah. Any motion to that effect? I would say the motion would include making a recommendation to hold this, refer this to the city engineers department, and I'll work, well, the planning department will work with them. And we would come back on the September 16th meeting with a recommendation, and we will explore what it takes to do the crossing guard. We'll at least have an answer.
I was going to, before you make that motion, maybe we could break it into two, find out about the crossing guard first, because the kids are in school right now. I don't know if that's even a possibility or not. If, from a timing standpoint, that's just a question that I have.
Corporal Wright, you may have to help us with some of that. Yeah, yeah. You can.
No? Okay. All right.
Don't split it. Yeah, that's, yeah, absolutely. I think we'd still need to include it all together because I don't know that we would be able to. Yeah, from the standpoint of the budgeting, right? Sorry, Corporal Wright, I may have called you up here for nothing.
That's okay.
I think we got it solutioned.
Yeah, you're good.
So I think the appropriate motion would still be to refer this to the city engineer's office, and the planning department will help out for a recommendation to come back at the September 16th meeting, and then we will explore the additional appropriation for a crossing guard. Yeah. Support.
I was going to suggest that we move it up, sorry, because school is in process, but
I don't know that we'll have a recommendation back by then. Yeah. Just being real. The first of. That'll be the 3rd. Mr. Werner, do you think you can get a recommendation by then? It's gonna work a miracle. So yeah, okay.
Say
September 3rd.
I'll move it up to the 3rd, yeah. 3rd.
Motion is to recommend this to the city engineers department and the planning department for a recommendation of the safe crossing to come back at September 3rd meeting. And then we will also explore the additional appropriation of a crossing guard.
Support.
Call for the vote. Mr. Simmons? Aye. Ms. Tisdale.
Aye.
Ms. Smith.
Aye.
Ms. Moore.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. All right, so we will come back at our September 3rd meeting and we will have our recommendation. Okay, our next order of business is the administrative appeal hearing. How do you want to handle this?
Missed one.
Nope, did I miss? What did I miss?
Request for road.
I am so sorry. Yes, sorry. Request for a road repair. Councilman Don Prespolinski is requesting to fix a severe dip in the roadway at Gardena Street and Cleveland Ave and repair the curbing removed by the water department. Got anything on this one, Tom? I think it's two things, one request.
Yeah, I spoke with Chris at the water department today about this, and he was gonna look into it and see when they did the water department repair there and get back to me. They may have to repair this. It might be something that slipped off their list, so he was gonna get back to me as soon as he can research that.
Anything on the severe dip?
I think it's the same thing, isn't it?
I think it was could have been a week and a half ago possibly, that the dip was blacktopped in.
Okay.
Okay, but to my satisfaction, no. Is it flat? No, there's still a dip. So I don't know who did it. I don't know if it was a contractor, if it was a street department or who did it. But I think it needs to be looked at by the city engineer to see if it qualifies for however much we're paying Reith Riley to do this work to be acceptable by the city. Because I don't think it's acceptable. Thank you.
Adam, did you have something to add?
Yeah, it was there was probably about 4 to 5 inches deep. Street department pulled out all the cold mix that was used by the water department, whoever did initial repair, because that just continues to sink.
Okay.
After time, it just continues to sink, never stays flat. We did backfill with stone and we repaired the area that they did their temporary patch in. Now there is still kind of a rough ride because more of that intersection needs to be cut out to actually have it 100% smooth.
Okay.
Street department doesn't have the capabilities to cut out a section that large. So we did address the issue right there where the water, fire hydrant's at, where the big dip is at. There's still a little bit of a rough ride, but it is substantially better than what it was. To get a good smooth ride, the entire intersection needs to be pretty much taken out and redone. We were gonna get to the curb, as soon as we start doing some concrete work. And that'll be when we do the sidewalk section over in Elston.
Okay.
We get in concrete mode. So, but that's where we're at on that and the repairs that have been done.
Excellent. Thank you for the update. We appreciate it. So what I'm hearing is that we need to keep this on here a little bit longer to get it completely resolved and have Mr. Warner kind of look at this a little bit more, or at least hear back from the water department as well. Okay. Do we want to put this out can we put this out for a couple of weeks? Maybe can this one go on our 16th meeting since? Yeah. Okay, cool. No. Yeah.
Motion to keep this on the list with an update on September 16th, second meeting.
To a second. Support. Call for the vote. Mr. Simmons.
Aye.
Ms. Tisdale.
Aye.
Ms. Smith.
Aye.
Ms. Moore.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you. Okay. Now for our next order of business is an administrative appeal hearing. Appeal hearing, Weedgrass. Paul A. Prespolinski of 1716 Washington Street is requesting to appeal a notice and order that was issued at his property at 1716 Washington Street. And I do believe Mr. Prespolinski is here. With that, I am going to hand it off to Attorney Ryan Beal and Attorney LePage.
Mr. Prespolinski, are you ready to proceed?
Yeah.
So let me just set the dialogue in the record for everyone. On June 28th of 2024, the city received a request for a hearing before the Board of Public Works and Safety for a notice and order issued at 1716 Washington Street by Paul Prespolinski. This matter is, in fact, the hearing that will be commenced today after two continuances of previous hearings at the request of Mr. Prespolinski. I believe Mr. Prespolinski said he is ready to proceed. He will be the petitioner, thus he'll be allowed to go first and present any evidence and testimony. Thereafter, the respondent is the Vector Control Department. They'll be able to present any additional evidence to this board. Mr. Prespolinski will give the opportunity for any kind of rebuttal. I just ask that each witness clearly state their name and address for the record and no talking over any of the parties. After all the evidence is presented, just to remind this board is vested with the authority of either affirming the order, reversing the order, or modifying the order. The board could render the decision effective today or could take it under advisement and bring it back at another meeting and render a decision after reviewing all of the evidence. The board will render its decision and findings of fact and will be reduced to a written order. So if all of the parties and witnesses who plan on testifying here this afternoon, if you could please stand so I could swear you in under oath. If you do plan on presenting testimony. Will you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear and affirm under the pains and penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth? Okay,
Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Prespolinski, the floor is yours.
Paul Prespolinski, 1716 Washington Street. On the on or about June 21st, I was the city arrived at my house with a team to cut down weeds, vegetation on the easements, and I was told that I was served a notice, and I asked how that was served to me, and they said that it was put in my door. And I have a copy of the notice, but this isn't my notice. This is the next door neighbor's notice from across kitty corner to my house in the 1800 block. So under due process, I think that the way I understood the old ordinance, that you were given sent a letter that you had a violation at your house and you had so much time to correct it. Well, I received a letter because on the 21st, and I happened to be home, that this was posted on my front door when the city arrived. Okay, they said I was notified. Then on and I asked the director, I haven't received a letter on this violation. So I have here a letter sent out and dated the 21st. And the letter was mailed on the 21st, so that meant I got it on about 3 days after they were there. And I don't have a problem with this per se. I just have a problem with the procedure. Okay, because I have been cleaning my problem up. And under Indiana code, it says that and I'm sure that
the attorneys, are well aware of what it says in here. That it says that, let me find it, please. Give me a second. This one talks about giving notice. If a statute is enacted by the General Assembly or a rule as defined in IC Code 422-23 requires that notice or other matter be given or sent by registered mail, certified mail, and by the, U.S. Postal Service. The only thing that I'm looking at is that is how I was given notice and given an opportunity under due process to straighten this matter out. And to confer with the director, because when he arrived at my house, I have had plantings on the corner for years. And I was moving towards all indigenous plants of Indiana. Well, I said, and I had some what I call prairie daisies that were on the easement, but you could see that they were there, and I was going to transplant them onto the corner. And all that was told and kept being reiterated to me that we're cutting everything down. We're cutting everything down today. So I just went up on the porch and watched this taking place. That's all I was doing. And then, then I get into the weeds, all right? But I'm looking at the things that are, it talks about manner of service, and this is in the Michigan City Code, incorporated in the Michigan City Code. Initial notice for any property found in violation of this section, the department shall issue an initial notice for the owner to cut, remove, and dispose of the weeds within 10 calendar days. I never had that opportunity. I never even got a chance to talk about this. Okay, all it was reiterated to me is that we're cutting everything down today. And I just want to tell you this, is that I've had some plantings on that corner for over 15 years. Never bothered anybody, but if I may, can I approach the chair with some informational pictures?
Yes.
There's 4 or 5 pictures in here. Okay.
Oh, no, you're fine, you're fine. Go ahead. Mr. Prespolinski, are these for the board then to keep like exhibits?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. As you will, the first picture, and I'm pretty sure that these are accurate, is of today's date. And I don't know if anybody knows what a yucca is besides me. But as you can see that these things were weed whacked to smithereens. And then here's another, there's another photo, the second photo is the another yucca that was the larger of the two. But you got to remember, these pictures were taken today. They've been growing now for about a month and a half, and then the third picture, I think, is the proof in the pudding. The third, fourth, fifth, and sixth photo are photos of a house, a yard, 200 feet from my house. It's on 124 West Homer Street. And the last picture, the last two pictures in that bunch, these were taken, the first two pictures were taken the week of the incident at my house, 200 feet away. But the last two pictures are taken this morning. So all I'm saying is this, is that I believe in due process and fairness. I don't think I was treated fair, in that I think that we have what in front of you, what's called selective enforcement of the rules. I don't have a problem cleaning up my yard, and I've been cleaning it up. But we need to be fair across the board. So I'm asking the board today, I want you to know that I have a physical impairment and I cannot work in the sun on certain conditions. And that I tell you, I don't have a thyroid. So if my core temperature goes up, I can have a stroke. Okay. So I am limited in the time that I can work out in the yard from early in the morning, 11 o'clock, and then depending on the day, 5 o'clock till 8-ish or whatever, the sun's going down. But I'm not using that as an excuse. I'm just trying to tell you what I have. And I have removed a lot of stuff out of the backyard on the fence line. Matter of fact, I made a phone call today for NIPSCO to come over or send their force. They're over there to either trim back 2 trees that are on the fence line that power lines are going to. And I have about 1/3 of my backyard cleaned up. So all I'm saying is I was going through a state of I'm getting it done. So I'm just asking you for I'm not asking you to rescind the order because I'm complying with it right now. I'm just asking you for 30 or 60 days because I got to move a bunch of because trees, shrubs, and all this are exempt from that law. It's just talk about weeds and grass. But I am moving a lot of some trees that are back there to my son-in-law's house that were planted. That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking you for is that, you know, and I'll be back in whatever you would choose, 30 or 60 days to you know, review it. Thank you. Do you have any questions for me?
No, I'm just gonna mark it as petitioners group exhibit 1 and enter them into evidence.
But yeah, one thing that really sticks in my sticks on me is this, is that last photo I took this morning. And I'm going, this is 200 feet from my house. You know, it's a block off of Franklin Street.
Mr.
Thank you.
Prespolinski, I believe Attorney
got
Beal might
anything
have
for
just
me?
a couple questions.
Good afternoon, sir. Ryan Beal. I don't think we've ever met. So, Mr. Prespolinski, the June 21st, 2024 Vector Control came out and they were mowing, I guess what we would refer to as the easement between your sidewalk and the city street, correct?
Right.
Okay. Are you contesting the fact that the city has the right to do that?
No.
Okay. So it sounds like you did have some vegetation on there. They maybe preferred that they hadn't chopped down, but they did that.
I asked them not to cut those flowers down because I was gonna move them.
Understood. But did you receive a notice then in regards to the remainder of your yard that it had to be reduced to under 6 inches of vegetation on it? What was a notice and order posted on your window?
Yeah, there was, that day, there was a notice, yeah,
Did you receive that? Because then you appealed it. You filed within 10 days.
I appealed it to, I didn't know if they wanted me to cut my, well, I'll tell you why I appealed it. Is the way I was notified, okay? With the initial notification saying that we put something in your door. And I asked my wife, I asked my son, I said, did you see anything in the door? Now you gotta remember, it could, come out, and I looked all over the porch, I looked, all over the yard for it. The only reason that I have this notice is because my neighbor across the street gave me his notice that he was given that day. And his I don't, that's how I got this notice, sir.
So, sir, so it doesn't sound like you're contesting that your yard needs to be cleaned up to comply with the city ordinance. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Do you acknowledge that grass, vegetation in your yard exceeds the 6-inch limitation set forth in the ordinance?
In some parts of it.
So it sounds like you have some medical reasons. You're just asking for some additional time to take care of it.
That is correct. And then we can revisit it, and if I'm in compliance, and I would prefer 60 days because I want to move some plants down to my son-in-law's farm. Some hickory trees.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. And I guess in in talking about that is I believe that you got to treat everybody fair, and give them due process. I just don't feel I was given due process in this whole situation. It's like I could have come here with a stack of pictures to show you people other stuff in the city. I didn't want to do that. Okay, but there are people who have planted on the easements, and they're very noticeable, and nothing happens with them. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Any-
Prespolinski.
Does any of the boards have any question for me?
I do not. I'm just, I do not. Probably after the next
Board
hour.
has no questions, then I would turn it to Attorney Beal because I think he wants to call Vector as a witness.
Okay. Let me throw this out there. I don't know Mr. Prespolinski. I know he's been a public servant to this city. I don't doubt that he has medical issues. I could call up 2 or 3 witnesses, Vector Control, who will testify as to the condition of his yard, what needs to be done. I don't think we need to make this more contentious. Sounds like Mr. Prespolinski wants to take care of this. And I think maybe we just say, hey, come back at second meeting in September, see how it's going, provide a report, and go from there. Or to proceed with witnesses. I don't think it's gonna.
No, that's a good solution. Can I ask just one question though? I mean, was the notice given? That's where I'm confused. Like, were there proper noticing? Because I would tend to agree that we should provide the appropriate notice, and I want to make sure we did.
I think you're gonna need testimony,
Okay.
don't you?
Who had Vector provided notice to?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm so confused with that piece of it. I just want to make sure that we kind of clear. I don't disagree with what Mr. Bill is asking of us, though. I actually kind of like it.
Brett Kelly, Director, Vector Control Department. Charles Clancy, Assistant Vector Control. We initially came to Mr. Prespolinski's residence to do the easement, which that's city property. We had also received a call about rank vegetation. Okay, when I received that call, I had to act. I initially, on May 14th, put that notice in Mr. Prespolinski's door. I did not put a notice in the door that's kitty corner to him. And that notice states, you're in violation of 102-1, and it's a nicety. 24 hours, can you take care of this? Okay. Now, this is about his property, not the easement. We returned to Mr. Prespolinski's property on the 21st of June. Mind you, we're talking 5 weeks. Okay? 5 weeks. That's when the notice was put on Mr. Prespolinski's door. The notice to abate. Okay?
So, Mr. Kelly, when you returned on June 21st, 2024, you posted that notice and order on his front door.
Yes, sir.
And,
Mr. Glassie.
and that is proper service under the code.
Absolutely. So, I somewhat have a problem with the word target. I don't target anybody. I do my job. And I've submitted numerous, what I call them niceties, to people, and people have complied. Yes. Okay. But when we get a call, we have to answer that call. We do it right away. And we do it right away. So he had 5 weeks. Now, mind you, we're talking about his property, not the easement, because I can mow the easement whenever I want. It's city property. So this is what we're dealing with now. 5 weeks before we even acted. I think that's sufficient amount of time.
And Mr. Kelly, just so the board's clear, we're not talking about mowing someone's yard just for aesthetics. We're talking about reducing vegetation for health and safety issues, so it doesn't become a breeding ground for airborne insects that can spread disease and so forth.
For rodents, raccoons, possum, we call it rank vegetations, and it's a nuisance property. We have to act. We got to when we get a call, right? Because if I don't act, then the mayor's going to call me and, hey, these people are calling. I hired you to do a job and you're not doing your job. So I don't target anybody. That's a very gross miscalculation of my office. We don't do that. We do our job.
Thank you. Does the board have any questions for?
So I'm just, so you're saying you came across Mr. Prespolinski's property in May,
May 14th,
then went back in June
when the
21st.
notice was given, June 21st.
And on June 21st, you guys cut?
No, we didn't do anything.
You didn't cut his property.
We have not touched this property.
I just gave him the initial notice.
We gave him the notice of abatement.
So I'm
with
sorry,
intent.
did we not
Right.
cut Mr. Prespolinski's
We have
property?
not.
No, because the order did not become a final order for them to have the legal authority to enter the property. We're waiting for this hearing to occur.
Okay, well,
The pictures are of the easement.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, so he appealed it and now it's up to this board to uphold the actual order if we choose.
So we gave the notice with intent to abate in the 10-day window if it weren't done. Correct.
Two options, appeal, or if there's no appeal and the 10-day period goes by, we abate, essentially.
Correct. The order becomes final after 10 days. If it's not appealed upon, that gives the city legal authority to enter on the property.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly. That's what those are my main questions. I just want to make sure we did serve no. I don't ever want to be not follow the noticing procedures, and I know that we always get kind of hung up on that. So I just want to establish that as part of the record.
But everything was done above.
Yeah.
Mr. Prespolinski, do you have any questions of these gentlemen? You may want to stay right here, you guys.
How was the notice served at my house? The initial order.
That's quite his question. Charles, can you come to the microphone?
Yeah, for the record.
On your front door with the sticker that's from the city for our ordinance. Yes.
That definitely was not May. That definitely on the notice was 6/21. What I was saying is that they put a notice, a paper notice, the one that I got from my neighbor that they handed him that day later on in the afternoon on 6/21. This paper notice I never received. My thing is that if I would have got notice, I would have called them right away and say, hey, I would have got on it right away and
Do you have any other questions of the gentleman?
Did you slip one of these in my door, sir? You did?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Mr. Kelly,
Okay.
can you come to the microphone, please?
Yes, I did the first.
Microphone. Thank you. Your answer was yes, you put.
The answer is yes, I did
Okay.
personally. I did not give the neighbor across the street a notice. I did not.
Any other questions?
Okay. I'm telling you, under the case of perjury, that I
If you're
received,
done with questions, we'll give you rebuttal right now. Yeah. No, that rebuttal means that you have the final say. If you have no further questions of them. Yeah.
my rebuttal is two things. Is I did not receive this in the door. This notice, I did not, I received this from the neighbor on 6/21 because they were over at his house he's got a planting all over the easement and that, and he was really distraught because they made some statements and I'm not gonna repeat them. If he wants to come here, okay, I'm gonna tell you. They said they were gonna be at his house within 24 hours with a backhoe digging up all the plantings on 1804, I think it's 1804 Washington Street. That guy was visibly shook up. That's why, and I'm telling you the truth, that's why I went over there and I asked him what went down today. And, that's why I filed the appeal for George. Okay, to get this thing aired out. I think that they should be, my rebuttal is this, I think they should be sending you a letter in the mail. Okay, so that you can make appropriate arrangements and talk to these guys on what you're gonna do to get it done. Okay, that's all. That's it. And I think George, they got some special legislation that they're working on ornamental plantings now on the easements. From what I was told by Councilman Don Prespolinski to deal with that. I'm not calling these guys. I'm just saying that it was not in my door. It was not there. I asked my family members about it. I said, this is important. My son, he goes, they all said they don't know what I'm talking about. But when I got this on the front door the day I was there, because if I'm not mistaken, I was there because I took it off the door and I said, hey, what's going on? And if I would have got a notice, I would start doing something right away. I wouldn't be waiting 5 weeks to do something. Okay, but I'm saying I never got this in the door. George's name is on this piece of paper because he wrote it down for me. This is not my writing. I'm just saying you should notify people in a better fashion. That's all.
Does the board have any other questions of Mr. Prespolinski?
Is this considered an official notice? I mean, I don't know what he's referring to when he keeps the paper that he keeps.
I think that the issue here is that Mr. Prespolinski is talking about the warning that Mr. Kelly indicated they gave him in May, which is that paper.
No, it's not this paper.
Well,
it's this.
Mr. Prespolinski, though, you said you got the notice that was on your door on June 21st, correct?
Correct.
And that is the notice that you appealed. That other one you're talking about was just kind of a warning saying, hey, if you don't take care of this, we're going to come back out. But you appealed the correct warning or the correct notice, and that's why we're here today. I mean, you filed an appeal that says, I'm appealing the notice and order on 1716 Washington Street.
And George also did, and he never had a hearing.
So I'm not sure what the issue is.
Okay.
You got the notice and order, you appealed it, you've had your say today. 2 months later, I was extending an olive branch saying, hey, they want it done in 10 days. We'll give you 30.
Well,
Does the board have any other questions?
I understand what you said, and I was off on sick leave and I was out of commission for about 15 days. And I am working on cleaning the property. Thank you.
Mr. Kelly, any final argument?
I'd just like to say, when we got the call for 1716 Washington Street, that's the house that I went to and put, as I put it, the nicety in the door.
Turn it back over to you, Mr. President.
Okay. I guess I just wanted to establish like to make sure we did do the proper noticing. That's why I asked the question. I didn't want us to get way out there. So the question before us right now is we have two options. Or three options really.
Well, you can issue a decision today. You could table it, take it under advisement, and come back at your next meeting.
Modify.
Absolutely. So that's part of your decision. So you either affirm, deny, or modify the order.
So those are the decisions before us today. Any questions?
Just to let the board know what I presented to Mr. Prespolinski was probably a modification of that order. The notice and order says to abate the problem within 10 days based upon his health problems. I suggested maybe providing him 30 days to do it.
Any thoughts on the board? Don't everyone speak at once.
I have really mixed emotions. I hear you. I think we've given you ample time though from June 21st. You wanted the first, when you appealed it, you did it because you were going to hire a lawyer, not because you wanted to talk about having health issues or anything like that. You wanted to hire a lawyer. And so I think about that in conjunction with getting this done and with your health issues. I just wonder if 30 days is really enough time, or if we can or should step in to help alleviate the issue there. Question, that's my questions.
Any other thoughts on the board? Mr. Simmons?
Yes. I would just like to recommend that we give them 30 days to clean it up.
Is that an official motion?
Make a motion to give Mr. Prespolinski 30 days to continue cleaning up his property.
So would you be affirming the order issued by the planning, but modifying it to the extent
Modifying,
of
yes.
giving him 30 days? Okay.
I'm modifying it, yes.
And
I'll support that.
And for just for clarity, it was by the vector control that gave the order, not planning.
I do have one question.
Absolutely.
Initially, I'm confused. Initially, the inspection department gave the initial report, right? Before us. Christine.
No, I don't think anyone's given an official with regard to this subject, this issue. It's never been heard. Mr. Prespolinski asked for a continuance and we continued it. We had Vector and everybody here ready to go, but we did not hear this. This is the first time. Yeah. We have had a hearing with Christine though that was regarding I believe it was like maybe a demo though. Yeah. It wasn't the subject. So there's a motion on the floor to modify, affirm, or uphold the order with a modification that we provide Mr. Prespolinski 30 days. And I'm going to call for the vote right now, and we'll see where we go. Mr. Simmons?
Aye.
Ms. Tisdale?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
No.
Ms. Moore?
No.
Chair votes aye as well. We'll give you 30 days, but we would expect a report back here in 30 days. Could we get Mr. Kelly to come back and ensure that in 30 days we have upheld it? Would we get a report back?
If I may, real quick, if 30 days passes, then they have legal authority to go on the property on day 31. That would be the legal answer.
So what we've done is we've affirmed the order, and within 30 days, if it's not completed, at the end of that 30-day period, you go back and inspect and it's not done, you have the authority to uphold the order. I'm sorry, did I hopefully encompass that correctly? Okay. What else do we need to do?
Well, you've got public comments now.
I'll entertain any public comments at this time.
Paul Prespolinski, I want to thank the board for working with me, and that I would definitely look at the original ordinance, and I don't know if this was changed when they did that wide sweeping thing 10 or 12 years ago, on how it's worded, that a letter is sent, to the homeowner, all right? And even if it's in a LLC, in partnership, whatever it might be, that their people get proper notification. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Any other public comment?
Ed Gravelin. I was kind of blindsided by your response, and as part of the procedure that I went through, I ended up at the mayor's office to get the application to be on your agenda, and I spent $600 to get the insurance to be on the agenda, and so I was just wondering if I would have to go to the clerk's office to get a copy of the inventory of city-owned properties. And then if I could find out, if you could ask the mayor which properties the city may be interested in selling.
I don't know if we have a master list. I don't think we do.
Well, it should be public record.
It is public record.
It is, but we don't have a master list put together. I'm not aware of
Yeah,
anything.
and on Beacon, you can go on Beacon and they're identified on Beacon as who owns what.
Well, that's where we ended up getting the information. Yeah. But I also went to your office and they told me that there was no activity on that property.
You never spoke with me.
I went to the office.
You never spoke with me.
No, I
sir.
did not.
Okay, exactly.
I
I wish you would have spoke with me. I could have alleviated a lot of this. Yeah.
I do too.
So
So there is no list.
I am not aware of a master list.
You might look, inquiring?
What you could do is go on Beacon, City of Michigan City. It'll show you all city-owned property.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right, thank you.
Mhm.
Ernie Callahan, 302 Gladys Street. I went to the refuge sanitation department, probably a couple of weeks ago, and gave them a list of the sewer drains in the streets that are plugged. There are numerous ones on Barker. And I have brought this up numerous times at the council meeting, and I have got no results back from turning that into the refuge or sanitation. The drains are still plugged. Carroll Ave, Barker Ave, all the way up Barker. Every time it rains, them streets just flood because the drains are plugged completely. I mean, there's mud up and weeds are growing out of it. So the drain does nothing. I called the mayor's office in regard to another issue. Risky Ave and Michigan Boulevard. There are no paint lines there. And people coming across at you, some of them out of town, don't realize they have to move over to get their lane. I'm sitting in the turning lane and they're coming straight at me until they realize they have to move over. That's happened to me numerous times. And there's no lines. All the lines are all completely gone. And the street at that corner have some pretty deep holes in them. And from what I was told when I called the mayor's office, that's not going to be done till next year. Well, if they don't patch them holes up, it's going to rain and freeze in there this winter and bust that open even more. Well, that's two issues there I'm concerned about. Because I don't want to see anybody get hit there. And it's a little complicated for the big semis to come and turn there when you're sitting right up there. I was sitting there, I was coming up on the red light. And this young man come flying around off of Michigan Boulevard and turning. And I don't know what happened to him, but he went off and hit the telephone pole and knocked the telephone pole down. He claimed he hit the pothole and lost his steering, so I don't know.
Any other public comment?
Yeah, Tommy Klavick, 1316 Ohio Street. Thank you for granting my request to replace that sidewalk. But there's a few others I might be putting on the agenda to do that. There's some issues on Ripley and Wabash. You know, I always walk that route going, to Franklin Street when I go out. It was kind of happy news. You don't have to have a public hearing on having to put down a vicious animal or a dog or so. Those are always very emotional when those go through. So I'm glad that was taken off the agenda. Well, everybody go home and watch the convention these next few days. You might catch a glimpse of someone we know very well, Mayor Angie. She's going to be there with the Indiana delegation, and she's a delegate to the state. So just want to say that and thank you and good job, everybody.
Oh, Scott Melton, Kenwood Place. It's been a long meeting. Regarding the folks that just left about the city lot they wanted to buy, I would have asked them what their development plan was for that. Because if that fits the vision of the mayor, then we should proceed with that because development is good for the city. Unless that's being reserved as part of redevelopment land or some larger plan. If it's just a separate lot that they want to build a house on, I think we should encourage that. What Ernie just spoke about at Risky and the Boulevard, there's the same condition at Poplar and the Boulevard. If you're coming, if you're going north to the Boulevard in front of that gas station, it's there's an angled street meets the boulevard, which is an angled street, and things don't line up, and there's no lines there. We could probably use striping at that intersection. Nothing against our vector control guys. They're very hardworking, and they have a large plate of business in front of them in this city. But there's a lot of confusion about what a weed is. We're looking at a new weed ordinance in this town, in fact, to account for native plantings and so forth. So though it is city-owned property, the easement area, or otherwise known as the tree lawn, that is city-owned property that is the responsibility of the homeowner or property owner to maintain. So we need to be cognizant of things like native plantings, which most people recognize to be good for the environment, good for things. So just to be aware that the city common council is looking at a new, defining what the weed ordinance to account for that kind of thing. Just because it's the easement doesn't mean, in my opinion, the city can just come down and kill everything on it. We need to be a little more nuanced. There are many places in this city where people have spent a lot of time with native plantings, and most of us, when they're mature, they can look weedy as they grow. But we have to be cognizant that some people put a lot of time and effort into plantings. They're not necessarily weeds. But yeah, the tree lawn is a big thing. It's city-owned property, but it is the responsibility of the homeowner. And we're allowed to plant things in it. We're allowed to do things in it. The counterpoint is if the city ever has to dig it up to do something, our things are in jeopardy. That's the risk we take on city-owned property. But we're allowed to use the land. It's not to be necessarily a 6-inch mowed lawn. Just wanted to get that out there for everyone. I appreciate everyone's time and effort. But I would hate it if I had spent 5 years planting a native wildflower garden and they got a call from somebody without talking to me first and they decided they could just mow it all down. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Anything online? Hearing none, I'm close public comment. Any board comments? Anything from the board?
I do just real quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just to talk about it, because I know we get a lot of requests to purchase city-owned property. So there's thought that goes into that, right? And then the statute's very complex as well. So it really depends on the value of the property, whether or not we have to go in front of the common council for approval, whether or not we have to get appraisals. So, and there's no guarantee if somebody puts a request on a Board of Works agenda that if we have to go out and competitively get bids on it, that you're going to get it. So it's
absolutely.
It's one of those that I don't think people really understand how complex the statute is for the sale of city-owned property, and it's for a reason. I mean, it's owned by the people, right? So there's a reason behind it.
Yeah,
but I just want to say that because it got a little weird here today with it. Even if we put it up for sale, there's no guarantee, especially that parcel. I mean, we'd have to get appraisals. We'd have to pay for it.
Yeah, we don't know if it has, there's also easement issues. There are certain pieces of property that you think may not have anything on them, and there actually have things underneath them that we have to consider. So there's lots of things we have that we have to think about. Yeah. I agree, it is very complex. Any other comments from the board? It's been a long, absolutely.
I have one. I just like to commend the Port County Tourism Bureau for a great job with the Super Bowl race, the parade, and all the festivities that they conducted here in the city, along with Terry and Shannon and their teams, all the EMS and police, all the different agencies involved. It was just a great weekend. I think Michigan City really enjoyed the weekend.
It just keeps getting better. I feel like more organized and better things. Yeah, absolutely. Ms. Smith, you had a comment. Oh, you okay. All right. Okay. Any other comments from the board, or do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Support.
We're adjourned. Thank you so much. I know it was a long one.